Ooh, that's bright. What's up guys, Joe Youngblood here. I'm a whitetail habitat designer with Whitetail Habitat Solutions alongside Jeff Sturgis, Dylan, and Kevin. Hope everyone's doing well this Memorial weekend. It's gonna be beautiful weather, getting quite hot. If you are new to the channel, welcome. We are implementing our strategies on my farm and going over the results with you guys, so hope that's something that interests you. If it does, feel free to like and subscribe and stay with us along for this journey. Today we're going to be doing some herbicide applications. We're on our second one if you didn't see our other video a few weeks ago. But I want to take you back there and I want to run through kind of what we did previously and the order of the applications and what we're using. There are tons of videos on this stuff, guys. It's probably one of the things that you will, sorry cop, one of the things that you will know like the back of your hand, but I'm gonna run through it all real quick, give you one more overview. It might help, you know, even just a couple of you. But also, if you are not familiar, it's been a little different on my farm just because we have quite a few Roundup resistant weeds, and there's really some other things we need to change up to make sure we get a good kill, whether we're using a cover crop like buckwheat or not. So we are gonna get out there and then I'm gonna show you guys around. In the McDonald's drive-through. Don't judge me. And it is such a nice day. If a temperature could stay just like this, that would be beautiful. Now, since it's Saturday, I don't think it's actually supposed to get too hot, but I know a few days after that, it's easily into the 90s here. I did spray this campsite a while back. You can start to see a lot of the stuff dying. But that was also really only a couple weeks and growth is still coming in a lot. Trees are filling out. So I'll definitely need to do some more spraying, but for sure some stuff that is new that was not hit. But anyway, that's just something that I have to do because there's a lot of stumps here at the campsite and I can't just go over it nice and easy with the lawnmower. I'll just hit them. So I'm gonna start getting some help, get our driveway added a little bit onto the gravel and just kind of prep some things for the future. I'm gonna hopefully get these stumps ripped out so things are just a little bit easier to maintain. Since you guys know I just do most of my cutting with a zero turn out here in the country. I don't have a brush hog or tractor at this farm. So let's go back there, check out and see how those sprayings were doing from just a couple of weeks ago. We did get a little rain here yesterday, so also gives me a chance to see what's very wet or not, especially when we get the lawnmower back there. Couple deer already, just into the second field. A little cold riding this ATV, but it's good to see. I'm telling you guys, and I've been telling a lot of clients lately that I've been visiting, that you know the bedding areas and some of the other improvements that I've been making have been a huge help, because bear in mind this farm and this area is generally not like other areas where there's just, you know, 40, 50, 100 deer out in the fields. This has more been a herd building opportunity for me. So it's great to see more deer movement, more consistent movement, even though we know it is summer, but as we thicken things up and the bedding areas we're creating, I think we're gonna see a lot of that translate into fall as well. But fun to see. So we made it back here. I'll show you guys the half and half plot here. You can see the essentially the clover half that I'm creating to continue to help building the herd here, since we don't have a ton of deer, and the other half, which was our brassica side that I sprayed 2 weeks ago in early to mid-May. So hasn't been a long time, which is why a lot of this stuff is still dying and it's just not bare dirt. But excuse me, over the next couple weeks that will continue to die off, and I am going to spray it again, because bear in mind guys, even though this is still a short amount of time, you could easily wait 3, 4 you know, plus weeks potentially, but depending on when you plant, as things grow, even if they're small, and if you do not hit them and then you put your seeds down, or you don't, let's say, spray on the same day, those things will catch up, and so new germinating seed will then have competition. So I like to be more safe than sorry, but we need to be careful with any herbicides that have a residual. Now, this rye here is definitely longer than I would normally wait. 8 to 12 inches, we always say, when spring green up hits, to go ahead and hit with your Glyphosate 2,4-D. But I am establishing a clover plot here, and I thought that this is still getting enough sun to where it can really help the clover grow, and now I can come through and hit it with Gly, and I might set the clover back just a touch, but it's going to kill most of the rest of this stuff except for any you know, Gly resistant weeds, and then that clover will have a better chance. And I'm already coming in here and being able to see you know, some clover down here germinating. Now this side, I will say, is fairly sandy, so it's not super consistent, but as I walk around I can definitely pick out some clover plants, and I think with a little more time and, you know, getting even more sunlight in, less competition, it should be okay. I'm going to continue to add lime and really help the areas that need it, and then I have some other areas like just 100 yards this way that look really good, and the clover is actually coming in quite a bit better. So it's a balance. It is what it is, but I'm going to do my best for a year or two to overseed and get a part of a clover you know, stand established. Now on this other side, and generally, you know, what I'm talking to you guys about when I'm going to client properties or here on YouTube is, you know, just the normal process to use our cover crop, our no-till, and buckwheat. And that is essentially, when it comes to herbicides, we're not using simazine for the food plot, right? I know you guys hear a lot about that, but that is just for the switchgrass. For the food plot, what we're gonna do is spray your Gly and 2,4-D, 2 quarts per acre glyphosate, 1 pint per acre of 2,4-D, over your food plot about when weeds are 8 to 12 inches high as they're coming up, okay? Typically in this area, southern, you know, Michigan, and generally around these parts, you're gonna be looking at late April, early May, just kind of depending on what weeds are growing. After that, you can pretty much give it 3-4 weeks, come back and hit it again. Just glyphosate should be fine, and that'll typically then be, you know, 1 month later, so you're looking at what, late May, early June. Now for here, we want that buckwheat stand to be around for 6 to 8 weeks. 6 weeks for pretty dang good soil, and 8 weeks for maybe poorer soil, so that it doesn't drop those seeds on the ground. So if we're in, you know, early, or I guess we want to do, let's say, 1 more spraying. So let's say we did that late May, early June, and then we get into mid-June or so, maybe even into late June for that early August planting, okay? We're gonna spray again when we put that buckwheat down. So we're spraying once, 8 to 12 inches high, spring green up, another time about a month later, which could be like late May, early June, and then another time, which will be like mid to late June, just glyphosate, all right? The 2,4-D, the residual, especially if you do it the same day you plant the buckwheat, you're gonna have a hard time watching that buckwheat come up. So make sure you're just doing the glyphosate on that last spraying, and that will put you right into early August. For here, we have that average frost date in early October, and so 60 days prior will put you in that 1 to 2 week range in August, waiting for that good rain. So that is going to be the basic, you know, herbicide process using that no-till. Again, that 3rd spraying will be when the buckwheat is going in, when I'm seeding it, and then I will spray again as I crush the buckwheat in early August and do, another spraying over the seed that we just planted. So I hope that, guys, helps you with that. I want to show you a little bit more over here where we have a better stand of clover, and you can see what that looks like. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head back, I'm gonna grab my sprayer that I just had to have fixed, and I'm gonna put just Gly in. I'm gonna run over just the clover half of this linear plot. Let's see some, ooh, that's a coyote. Just some glyphosate, maybe slightly diluted over this clover side, and then I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna add the 2,4-D, and I'm gonna hit this side 1 more time. Now generally a lot of you guys are not gonna have to do that, because my buckwheat in some areas struggled with the gly-resistant weeds last year, had too much competition, because when I did my second spraying of just glyphosate, it gave them plenty of time, well over a month, month and a half, I think it would be, for those other weeds to play catch up and give me quite a bit of competition. So I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna hit it again, and then I'm going to be waiting a couple of weeks because I'm using that 2,4-D, and it should have plenty of time for that residual to wear off. My buckwheat should come in quite well and suppress weeds going into the fall plot. If they don't, guys, bear in mind, don't freak out. If you're having some trouble, worst case, or I know a ton of us last year, many of you online and on the Facebook groups and things like that, had trouble with the buckwheat growth. Worst case, you do another spraying, kill everything, give it a little time, and put your fall seeds in your fall plot right on the bare soil, okay? And also, if you're amending your soil and you're building things up, or maybe you're just getting started on your plan, that's okay. Worst case, layer that rye 2 or 3 times on Labor Day, 150, 200 pounds per acre. 2 weeks later, same thing, and potentially even a third one 2 or so weeks after that. So worst case, you should have some green going into the fall and the winter, helping that deer and helping your hunt and your own farm. So right here, I wanted to show you, again, this is generally much taller than I would normally wait, and you can actually see there's just a big gap where no rye even grew, but look how much better the clover is coming through here, and the rye actually worked really well where the soil was good to let this clover come up. So that's a great you know, opportunity for you guys that do need clover plots or do need to establish summer food sources to build a deer herd. You know, that side where you planted winter rye can be great to help this clover come in the following year. I mean, this is looking much better. This is almost a pure stand right here, minus a few other things. So that's looking good. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna go load up the sprayer and get to work. I appreciate you guys following along with me. We will be back probably mid-June. I'll give you an update on how the spraying looks. We'll get our buckwheat down, and then we'll see how that grows and into our fall food. It's exciting. Seeing deer, antlers are growing. It's a good time to be in the woods. See you guys next time.